Hello my fellow trucketeers, what are we doing today? We've got a little job in the car. It's a little bit blowy, so I do apologise for the wind noise, but today we are fitting new brakes, carburetor pads and new discs, because we got a slight vibration when we brake on the front, so I'm going to change these and hopefully that will solve the issue. So we'll get straight on with it. I'll crack on. First thing we've got to do is jack the car up. Now I've driven up on blocks because this car's quite low, so the jack doesn't actually fit underneath, and we're going to lift it up from the subframe, so let's crack on and do that. There we go. Alright, so now we need to get the wheels off. Which I haven't got a specialist tool for, so we'll have to use the chrome bits. 1, 4. Of course, there's always one that's a bit tight, isn't there? 5. Get the wheels out of the way. Slide the wheel under the car just for extra protection. So I'll have a look on there. So the arms ain't too bad. The subframe's a little crusty. It's not too bad under there really. I should probably pop some of the wheel arch liner off and have a look underneath while I'm here. Springs look alright. Shocks look a little bit tired, especially down there. But yeah, let's get these brakes undone and get the new pads and discs on. It's a little bit crusty. Might clean them up and paint them sometime. Alright, so we got to undo that nut there. So put a bit of penetrant on it. That one down there. And then we got to get the caliper carrier off, so that one. Oh, and that one right at the very bottom there. So I'll get the carrier off. These ones here are just for the slider pins, so see how we get on with these crusty nuts. Alright, so see if we can crack these rear nuts off. Got a 17mm spanner on the front, 14 on the ratchet on the back. Oh, that was nice and easy. They're not too bad on the inside. Stick that there. And then we'll crack off the bottom ones. If we can. There we go. Beautiful. So the caliper now should just wiggle out. There we go, beautiful. That's quite crusty. I might eventually invest in some new ones, right? Put that back in there a second. And for a minute, we'll just hook that up on the core spring out of the way so it doesn't break the braided brake line. Beautiful. Right, gotta get these shims out. Get the pads out first. There we go. Still quite a bit of meat left on them, but something's not right somewhere. I've got to take these off as well. Alright. Get that top one out. Sometimes brake pads come with new shims, sometimes they don't, so we'll make sure we keep them in good nick for now. While we're here, we'll just break off the caliper carrier and take the pad out. Oh, it's turning power steering. There we go. Wow. Not too bad. That one's cracked at least, so we can crack the top one. There we go. That would have been easy to get the gun in. Next time. There we go. Alright, so there's a carrier. I'm just going to clean that up with the wire wheel. I'm going to clean up all around there. And we're going to clean up. I wouldn't say the discs are in too bad a shape, but the thing is, you don't know what quality disc they put on them, whether they've warped or not. So I'm going to clean up all around the hub here with a wire brush. Clean up all this. Clean this up, get the shims out, clean them up, and yeah, get on to the rest of it. Put it all back together and do the other side. And then what we'll do as well is we'll take the slider pins out. They're still sliding pretty well. Well, that bottom one's a bit stiff, actually. We'll clean the slider pins up and put some more silicone lubricant on them. Bottom one's a little bit sticky, and I'm wondering if that's what the judder end was then. So we'll pop them out. That one's alright. That one's a little bit crusty, so yeah. We'll see if we can clean that out inside. In there, need a little brush thing to get in there really. Cotton buds work, but yeah, we'll get on and do that. Get some brake clean in these, and then get a cotton bar sieve and get all the old grease out. That one ain't too bad actually. That one there's a bit gummed up, I think. Yeah, look at that. I ain't got a slider, it's all packed in with stuff like that. Got to make sure your sliders are sliding nicely, otherwise you're going to have issues with brake seizing or sticking. Let's clean up the slider pins. Ah, it's got like a rubber seal on the bottom. Okay. I'll try not to wire brush that too much. Cool. Silicone grease, that's what I'm putting on. You don't put copper grease in these. Silicone grease. So we'll just smear that around. There we go. And then that one went in the bottom here. Yeah. So we get the sock, which we should probably clean out as well. Chuck that over there like that. Chuck that over there like that. And there we go. Nicely lubricated. Right, let's clean up this one. A little bit more on there. There we go, 2 slider pins back on, doing what they should do. Alright, let's wind that caliper back first. So we'll get our caliper wind back tool. Stick it in there. Get a plate that matches that, which that one does. We'll get that ready to go. Right, so first things first, before we start winding the caliper back, open the bonnet. And then we got to undo the brake reservoir, because it will push fluid back through here. So put that safely over there. And we'll keep an eye on that. If it starts to fill up, then we'll have to drain some out. So let's get winding this back. We shouldn't have too much in there because we're not winding them back too far. Oh. Okay, that's a bit stiff. That's not a good sign. Oh no, she's winding back now. So just didn't have enough leverage, and the tool I had was sticking on the inside of the caliper, so just wind her all the way back in. Oh no, she's all good. There we go, that's as far as she'll go. There we go. Beautiful. So we'll check the fluid now. And that's not really come back up much at all, if any, so I think we'll be good. Alright, let's take this all back apart now. Let's get our brand new disc, and they come coated in oil. So these are Brembo discs, so they're good quality. And they come coated in oil to stop them rusting while they're in shipping or in storage. So make sure we clean all of that off. And then clean the front as well. The last thing you want is grease on your discs to then, when you hit your brake for the first time, you don't stop. Alright. And then just respray that, get that wiped off. What we'll do is we'll get a very, very thin coating of copper grease on the back. I mean, like literally very, very thin. And that'll just help pull the discs off next time they need to be changed. It'll stop them sticking to the hub quite so much. There we go, that's that on. So now we'll put the caliper carrier back on. What we'll do first is we'll clean these screws up. So they're a little bit crusty. Little double copper grease on that, and then the carrier goes behind the hub, nut goes through, or bolt goes through, and then bit of copper grease. And we go torque setting. That. Bottom one torque setting. Click. Click. That's the carrier back on. Now we'll clean up all of these little clips. Try not to bend them too much. Beautiful. What we'll do is we'll try and remember which way these will go on. So now we're going to stick our brand new EBC yellow stuff pads on. So these pads are good because they have a break-in area, so you ain't got to do any special scratchy stuff to them. Shims on the back to stop them squealing. What we'll do is we'll just put a bit of copper grease on the edges here, just where it contacts the shims, just to help them slide a little bit easier. Not too much, just a little. Do the same on the back. just on the little tabs there. I'll just help them slide a bit easier. And then some people put them on the back, but if you want, it'll help stop squealing if you put them on the back, but you don't really need to do them. Again, try not to get any on the disc or the brake surface, the brake pad itself. There you go, that's the new pads on. New disc is sitting when it's bolted up. There's the new pads. So squeeze them up just to hold the disc in place. Then we'll get the carrier on. Well, they've got the carrier on. Get the caliper back on. A little bit of copper grease on the nuts. Always grease your nuts. Where's the other one gone? I lost my nut. Ah, there it is. I'll get the other one started. We've got a 70mm spanner and a 40mm ratchet, and we'll start doing these nuts up on the back of the caliper. Do them reasonably tight. I don't know what the actual torque setting is. If you want to do torque settings, I can look it up, but I'll have to wash my hands and go get me Haynes manual. There we go. Now we got a nice movable caliper. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to crack on and get the other side done, as this side is now finished. So I'll go get the other side done and I'll bring you back to do the rear. Yeah. Now upon doing the other side, I've discovered the passenger side, the rubber on the brake piston is quite corroded and brittle, so I'm going to have to get a new one at some point, a new caliper. It wound in really easy, so I wouldn't say anything too bad's got in there at the moment, but it's not going to last a great deal of time, so I'll have to buy myself a couple of new calipers for the front. So the rest of it's gone together nice and easy, so we'll get that back together. It'll be alright for now. I'll just have to get some new calipers. I think I'll change both anyway, just for good measure. Also the little bung that goes over the bleed nipple, that's all broken and corroded, so this caliper's no good really, but it'll do for now. Right, so we've done 3 out of the 4 now, so we've just got this one to do, which is the last one, so we'll crack on, get the wheel off and get this one on. The rear brake on the other side, the rubber grommets on the slider pins were both corroded on both of them. Not like bad, but they've both got little rips, so the slider pins weren't working great, so that's not going to help the whole situation, but I'll put some silicone grease on them, so we'll see how we get on with that. I'll probably buy new carriers with new slider pins and get them replaced at some point, but at the moment it should be fine, so we'll just get on with this side and hopefully have no issues. Whoever done these wheel nuts up, we've done them up way too tight. Either that or they just corroded on a little bit. The fronts weren't too bad, but the backs aren't quite hard. There we go. off and out of the way. Oh, alright, let's see if we can have a better job on this side. Alright, 14s, caliper from the carrier. Oh. Just that way. That wasn't too bad. And the bottom one, which again has loads of stuff in the way. God, we love ratchet spanners. Alright, that way. Cool, that one's a bit stiff. Right. 17, yeah. There we go. Ratchet spanners are the best investment ever. If you haven't got any, get some, for Christ's sake. Don't look too bad. Let's wind that back in now. So we have a pronged tool on this one because these ones rotate to go back in. So prongs go in there. Just take the slack up and then we'll spin it. It should go back in nicely. And I've got to check the brake fluid as well. Cool. There we go, sorted. So that's that wound back, that's ready to go. Just get that out of the way. Like so. Alright, now we've got to get this carrier off. Take the pads out for now. Oh, I can't get the back one out. Leave the back one in there for now, that's fine. Oh, that was very nearly a swear word. Oh, gotta love it when a bolt just lets go like that. Oh, hey, wouldn't be working on a car if you don't injure yourself. Taking skin off now. Ow. There's always something in the way, isn't there? Alright, that's all that equipment off. Let's get that off. Oh, these sliders are a bit stiff as well. So we're going to pop these shims off and clean them up. If they want to come off, there we go. And we'll clean the caliper, the carrier up a bit. We'll grease the slider pins a bit because they're quite stiff in and out. And then, yeah, we'll do whatever else we have to do. These ones ain't too bad. Oh yeah, they're a lot better. But someone has put copper grease on them, which I found is not advisable because apparently it's abrasive. So, or it can be. Right, let's get that disc off, get that out of the way, get this cleaned up, put it all back together again. Alright, let's clean out where these slider pins go. Try and get as much of this copper grease out as possible, but I've only got a couple of cotton buds left, but we'll be alright. As long as I get the majority of it out. Yeah, you don't use copper grease and slider pins. Let that flash off for a bit. We'll clean the slider pins up. Oh. These are not in too bad shape. There we go. There it is. Re-grease them. Oh, you should wear gloves, John. There's all these chemicals. Yeah, I'm aware. I do have gloves, but they're quite broken at the moment, so I'm waiting for a new pair to turn up. Now, these slider pins for the rear are different. There's one with flat edges on it, which is that one, and that one there's just completely round, and they're both slightly different diameter. So, one will fit in both holes, but the other one will only fit in one hole, so find out which one fits in the one hole, and then, yeah, you know where the other one goes in. Right, we'll get them lubed up and pressed in. I say pressed in, it's not exactly pressing them in, it's just pushing them in. Right, again, silicone grease. Get them greased up. Oh. And then we'll press them in home. There we go. Get the brand new disc out. And we'll give it a quick clean. We'll do the back first, just to get the anti-corrosion stuff off. And do the good side. Beautiful. Alright, now we can get the carrier back on. Get all the rust off the tip of them, because it makes them a bit nicer when you put them back on. There we go. And again, of course, copper grease them. I put put them back in. Only a dab will do ya. There we go. And then we'll just nip them up. Knit that one up. There we go. Beautiful. Alright, let's get the pads in. Again, this one's got a funny thing on it, so put some grease where the pad's going to slide. There we go. Is that one in? If you do get any on the friction material, just make sure you wipe it off, because you don't really want that on there. I ain't got any on there, but it's closer than I'd like it to be. Alright, we'll get that all off our hands. Get that one in. There we go, both in. Beautiful. Caliper back on. See, hardly any rust on there. To make it a bit nicer to get off next time. So a little drop of copper grease. And then we'll clean up the other one, wherever that is. Just nip them up. There we go. Should be more than tight enough. There we go, beautiful. Oh, my brakes are done. Let's move our crap out of the way. We'll get the wheel back on. We'll get the wheel nuts back on. And then we'll start the car up, dab the brakes a few times till we get a brake pedal, and then yeah, we'll go from there. Oh no, fairly straightforward. There we go. Alright, see if we can do it with one bit of wood. Drop it down gently. Lovely. Oh, little tip for you as a dog. Now, obviously a lot of mechanics will use a thing called Swarfiga. If you haven't got Swarfiga, yeah, what I normally use, get the taps running. Very liquid, because it's a degreaser. That's why you don't wash your car with it. And sugar. Some of that, get it wet, and it'll wash your hands a treat. It'll have that gritty feel that Swarfiga does. There you go, and it'll leave your hands nice and clean. You still have a bit of dirt in your nails and that, but that's to be expected. But yeah, it's my little tip for you. No, of course, clean the sink out afterwards before the missus gets upset with you. Right, what we're going to do now is we put our brake fluid cap back on and close the bonnet up. Gonna move the bricks out of the way. I'm gonna jump in quick, start the car. Before we do anything else, just going to pump the brake pedal until we get a pedal back. There we go, that's going to set all the pistons in the right place. Now we've got handbrake again. Brakes work backwards, they work forwards. Alright, let's go forward, get them bits of wood out from underneath. And then you can take her on a test drive after we torque the rear wheel nuts, so we'll do that first. Right, now the Haynes manual states 110 Newton meters for an MX5, but I'm gonna go for 120 because that's what I always did on my Audi. Like a wheel nut, which is annoying. I will be getting rid of them at some point. There we go, let's do the other side. And there we go, that's the new brakes, discs and pads done. So we've got a couple of bits to do. We need to replace the carrier on the passenger side on the rear, and we need to change the caliper on the passenger side on the front. But I'll probably do both calipers on the front just to keep them even. Yeah, we'll get around and doing that, but for now that's that done. So we're just going to go take it for a test drive, give them a little bit of bedding in, but they got bedding in material anyway, so you don't need to worry about it so much. But yeah, we'll go out for a little spin in a bit once I tidy all this mess up. Right then, ladies and gentlemen, here we are for a little bedding in test. Let's do the windows up just so you don't get too much wind on the mic. So here we go. We got to do between 50 to 100 miles of normal driving, and then we got to do 8 slow downs effectively. So we got to slow ourselves down within 300 meters from like 80 to 30 mile an hour. We got to do that 8 times in a row, but we got to wait until we've done that 50 to 100 mile initial drive. This is what I've read from the instructions anyway, so I'm not going to drive 50 miles a day. I'm going to do, I'll just do normal driving over the next few days, and then we'll do braking procedures when I get a chance to. So just running. So the brakes are working. It seems to have gotten rid of the shudder on the steering, but I haven't braked hard yet for that sort of speed, but it seems to be very smooth on the braking. There's a bit of a squeal which you get from these on the braking in surface anyway, so you always get that. Yeah, but yeah, they're going to be good brakes. I know it. Look, I've had yellow stuffs a couple of times before. I had them on my Audi, had them on my last MX5, and they're fantastic pads. They're mainly for like fast road and a bit of track use. They're not like dedicated track pads. The blue stuffs are more based for that, but yeah, these are pretty good if you like to drive maybe a little bit quicker. I'd say they definitely cope with temperature a lot better than standard pads do. Yeah, I'll just give it a bit of a press then, but yeah, they're working absolutely fine, not a problem at all, which is lovely. It's absolutely lovely. So we'll have to get on and get the front calipers changed at some point. I like to change them both at the same time. I would like to change the, as I'm taking them off, I might as well change the braided brake lines as I can. That'll improve the brake feel. Yeah, just simple things like that. So we'll save the pennies up and get that done. But what comes first, I don't know, but I'll probably be looking at getting the under sealing done next, maybe. I got a couple of little bits to put on the car, so I might do a little video of that. I got like, yeah, just a couple of bits, just a couple of tidy up bits, I suppose, make it sort of more suited for what I want. So yeah, anyway, I'm gonna go do my shopping for the week, being as it's Monday and I've got the day booked off and I'm back in work tomorrow. So I'm gonna go do some shopping, take that down to the truck, put that in there ready for the week, and yeah, probably do something else with the car and then call it quits for the day maybe. But for this video, that's pretty much going to be it. So I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was educational. I'm not a mechanic, so you know, I may have missed a step here and there or done something that you probably wouldn't do, but at the end of the day, I've done loads of brakes and I've never had an issue, so yeah. Might even get you thinking, oh, that wasn't too difficult, I'll do it myself. So by all means, give it a try. So if you like the video, give it a thumbs up. If not, thumbs down. It's entirely up to you. I'm going to have to redo the intro to these videos because obviously that has my old car in it, but we'll do that as and when. I'll keep the intro as it is for now. Yeah, subscribe to the channel if you're not subscribed already. Obviously it's mainly a trucking channel, but there will be the odd car thing, so if you're into cars, then yeah, why not, might as well. We do love these roads. So yeah, take it easy, look after yourselves, drive safely. Thanks for tinkering around with Jono, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.